and the secretive spy company that became worth $50 billion. In the aftermath of 9/11, while America grappled with intelligence failures that cost thousands of lives, a Stanford computer science professor named Peter Thiel saw an opportunity that would reshape how governments and corporations handle data forever. The CIA had missed obvious warning signs because their analysts were drowning in disconnected information scattered across dozens of databases that couldn't talk to each other. Thiel, fresh off his PayPal fortune, understood something profound. The future belonged to whoever could turn chaos into clarity, transforming massive amounts of raw data into actionable intelligence. In 2003, he co-founded Palantir Technologies with Alex Karp, Stephen Cohen, Joe Lonsdale, and Nathan Gettings, naming it after the all-seeing stones from Lord of the Rings. Their mission was audacious: build software so powerful it could connect the dots that human analysts missed, whether those dots revealed terrorist plots, financial fraud, or corporate inefficiencies. What started as a response to America's intelligence crisis would evolve into one of the most secretive and controversial companies in Silicon Valley, eventually reaching a valuation of over $50 billion while serving everyone from the Pentagon to Airbus. The early days of Palantir were anything but glamorous. Funded initially by Thiel's own money and operating out of a cramped Palo Alto office where the founders worked 18-hour days trying to solve problems that had stumped the intelligence community for decades. Their first major breakthrough came when they secured a contract with the CIA's venture capital arm, Thiel, in 2004, providing $2 million in funding that validated their approach to data integration and analysis. The CIA had been struggling with what intelligence professionals called the dots problem, having all the necessary information to prevent attacks, but lacking the tools to connect disparate pieces of data quickly enough to act on them. Palantir's solution was revolutionary. Instead of forcing agencies to replace their existing systems, their software could plug into any database, regardless of format or structure, and create a unified view that analysts could navigate intuitively. By 2006, they had developed their first major product, Palantir Gotham, specifically designed for government intelligence and defense applications, featuring capabilities that seemed almost magical to analysts who had spent careers manually sifting through reports and spreadsheets. The software could process everything from financial records and travel data to social media posts and satellite imagery, presenting connections and patterns in visual formats that made complex investigations feel like detective work enhanced by artificial intelligence. The real validation of Palantir's technology came through its role in some of the most significant intelligence operations of the 2000s and 2010s, though the company's strict confidentiality agreements meant that most of their successes remained classified for years. What we do know is that Palantir's software played a crucial role in tracking down Osama bin Laden, helping analysts piece together the courier network that eventually led Navy SEALs to his compound in Pakistan in 2011. The software was also instrumental in dismantling international money laundering operations, identifying terrorist financing networks, and supporting military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan by analyzing insurgent patterns and predicting attack locations. Beyond counterterrorism, Palantir proved equally valuable in cybersecurity, helping government agencies detect and respond to sophisticated state-sponsored hacking attempts by visualizing network traffic patterns and identifying anomalous behavior that traditional security tools missed. Their technology was so effective that by 2010, Palantir had contracts with virtually every major intelligence agency in the United States, including the CIA, NSA, FBI, and Defense Intelligence Agency, with annual government revenues exceeding $100 million. The company's reputation for discretion and effectiveness made them the go-to solution for sensitive operations, leading to international expansion as allied governments sought similar capabilities to combat their own security challenges. While Palantir built its reputation serving spy agencies and military organizations, CEO Alex Karp and his team recognized that the same data integration challenges plaguing government also existed throughout the corporate world, leading to the development of Palantir Foundry for commercial clients starting in 2008. Fortune 500 companies were sitting on vast amounts of data trapped in separate systems that couldn't communicate with each other, creating the same dots problem that had motivated Palantir's original creation, but in contexts like supply chain optimization, fraud detection, and market analysis.
Their first major commercial success came with financial services companies struggling to detect sophisticated fraud schemes that spanned multiple accounts, transactions types, and geographic regions, problems that traditional rule-based systems couldn't handle, but that Palantir's pattern recognition capabilities solved elegantly. Airbus became one of their most prominent early commercial clients, using Palantir software to optimize manufacturing processes and reduce production costs by identifying inefficiencies across their global supply chain that had been invisible when data remained siloed in different departments. The pharmaceutical industry quickly followed, with companies like Merck using Palantir to accelerate drug discovery by analyzing vast data sets of molecular interactions, clinical trial results, and patient outcomes in ways that revealed promising research directions years faster than traditional methods. By 2015, Palantir Foundry was generating hundreds of millions in revenue from commercial clients across industries including healthcare, energy, automotive, and retail, proving that their data integration approach was as valuable for increasing profits as it was for national security. The company's growth trajectory through the 2010s was remarkable not just for its financial success, but for how it maintained its secretive culture and selective client approach even as it scaled to thousands of employees and billions in revenue. Palantir operated more like an exclusive consulting firm than a typical software company, with each implementation requiring months of customization by teams of engineers and analysts who worked directly with clients to understand their specific challenges and configure the software accordingly. This approach meant that Palantir could charge premium prices, often securing contracts worth tens of millions of dollars annually from single clients who became deeply dependent on their systems for critical operations. The company's hiring practices were equally selective, recruiting top talent from universities like Stanford, MIT, and Carnegie Mellon, while maintaining strict security clearances and confidentiality agreements that made Palantir one of the most closed-mouth organizations in Silicon Valley. By 2018, private market valuations had reached $20 billion, making Palantir one of the most valuable private companies in America despite having almost no public profile compared to other tech unicorns like Uber or Airbnb. Their client roster read like a directory of the world's most powerful organizations. The Pentagon's Special Operations Command used Palantir for mission planning, JP Morgan Chase relied on it for compliance monitoring, and BP utilized the platform for oil exploration data analysis, creating a business model where a relatively small number of high-value clients generated enormous recurring revenue.
Palantir's path to going public was anything but conventional, reflecting both the unique nature of their business and the controversial aspects of their government work that had drawn criticism from privacy advocates and civil liberties organizations. The company faced sustained pressure over its contracts with immigration and customs enforcement during the Trump administration's family separation policies, leading to employee protests and public relations challenges that highlighted the ethical complexities of building surveillance technology. Despite these controversies, Palantir's financial performance remained strong, with 2019 revenues exceeding $700 million and gross margins above 70%, demonstrating the profitability of their specialized approach to data analytics. The COVID-19 pandemic actually accelerated demand for Palantir's services as governments worldwide needed to track disease spread, manage vaccine distribution, and analyze economic impacts in real time, leading to high-profile contracts with health agencies in the United States and United Kingdom. When Palantir finally went public through a direct listing in September 2020, the company was valued at approximately $22 billion, with Alex Karp and Peter Thiel retaining significant control while giving public investors access to one of the most secretive success stories in tech history. The public offering revealed fascinating details about Palantir's business model, including the fact that their average contract value exceeded $5 million annually and that client retention rates exceeded 90%, indicating that organizations became deeply dependent on Palantir's capabilities once they implemented the system. The post-IPO period has seen Palantir evolve from a secretive government contractor into a more visible technology platform company while maintaining its focus on the most complex data challenges facing large organizations. The company has expanded internationally with significant contracts in Europe, Asia, and other regions where governments and corporations recognize the strategic value of advanced data analytics capabilities. Recent wins include partnerships with major automotive manufacturers for autonomous vehicle development, healthcare systems for patient outcome optimization, and energy companies for climate change mitigation planning, demonstrating Palantir's ability to adapt its core technology to emerging global challenges. Their work with the Ukrainian government during the Russian invasion showcased how Palantir's real-time data integration could support military logistics and humanitarian relief efforts, bringing positive attention to capabilities that had previously been associated primarily with surveillance concerns. The company has also invested heavily in artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities, positioning Palantir Foundry as a platform that can not only integrate existing data, but also generate predictive insights that help organizations make better decisions about everything from resource allocation to strategic planning. By 2023, annual revenues had exceeded $2 billion, with a market capitalization fluctuating around $50 billion, making Palantir one of the most valuable enterprise software companies in the world, despite serving a relatively small number of clients compared to mass market technology platforms. What makes Palantir's success particularly remarkable is how they created an entirely new category of enterprise software by focusing on problems that other technology companies considered too difficult or too niche to address profitably. While companies like Salesforce and Oracle built platforms for common business processes used by millions of organizations, Palantir chose to specialize in the unique data challenges facing the world's most complex institutions, creating solutions so valuable that clients were willing to pay premium prices for customized implementations. Their approach required significantly more human capital than typical software companies, with hundreds of forward-deployed engineers who work on-site with clients for months or years at a time. But this high-touch model created competitive moats that made it nearly impossible for clients to switch to alternative solutions once they had integrated Palantir into their operations. The company's success also reflects Peter Thiel's broader philosophy about building monopolistic businesses by doing something dramatically better than anyone else, rather than competing in crowded markets with incremental improvements. Palantir didn't just build better analytics software, they solved fundamental problems around data integration and pattern recognition that had prevented organizations from fully utilizing their information assets, creating value propositions so compelling that price became secondary to capability. Their client base today includes more than half of the Fortune 100 companies, along with dozens of government agencies worldwide, generating recurring revenue streams that compound annually as organizations expand their use of Palantir's platform to new departments and use cases. Looking toward the future, Palantir appears positioned to benefit from several major trends that should increase demand for their specialized capabilities, including the explosion of data generated by Internet of Things devices, the growing complexity of cybersecurity threats, and the increasing regulatory requirements around data governance and compliance. The company has begun expanding into new verticals like retail and hospitality while maintaining their dominant positions in government, financial services, and healthcare, suggesting significant runway for continued growth as more industries recognize the competitive advantages available through advanced data analytics. Their recent investments in artificial intelligence and autonomous systems indicate ambitions to move beyond data integration into predictive and prescriptive analytics that could automate decision-making processes currently handled by human analysts and managers. The geopolitical tensions between the United States and China have also created opportunities for Palantir as American allies seek alternatives to Chinese technology companies for sensitive data processing applications, potentially opening new international markets worth billions in additional revenue. Perhaps most importantly, Palantir has demonstrated that there's enormous value in solving hard problems for sophisticated clients, rather than building simple solutions for mass markets, a lesson that could reshape how entrepreneurs think about building valuable technology companies. From those early days in a cramped Palo Alto office to becoming a $50 billion public company, Palantir's journey proves that sometimes the most valuable opportunities exist in the spaces that others avoid, where technical complexity meets urgent need, and where success requires not just great software, but deep understanding of how powerful institutions actually operate in an increasingly data-driven world.